Hey everybody, I am here to talk about kind of the second half of Module 2. My last video where I talked through the modules was mainly, it was more than the first half. It went down, I think, to this area. But in this one, we continued through section 2.7 with our progress checks and CYU discussions. And then we had our synthesizing assignment, which we had a very similar one in Module 1. Or I'll say a similar idea of this assignment. So you'll come in here and take this assignment. This is an open-ended free response, but similar to the progress checks, it's open book. You can take as long as you need to, but you will only have one attempt. So please make sure that you're ready to do that when you are sitting down to do it. Okay. This is the first time we're having challenges, so I really wanted to talk about that in this video and then this investigation portfolio. So the challenge situation, we've been learning a lot of concepts in statistics, and we have been learning about how to calculate them by hand. But something I've mentioned in pages and things is that it's 2025, so we have a lot of tools that we can use to calculate these things very quickly. And Microsoft Excel and Google Sheets are really nice free resources. I'll say Microsoft Office in general is free to you as College of the Desert students. So it is free to you. It's not free in general, but Google Sheets is if you have an account there. So I encourage you to use Excel because those that's the platform I will be using to make my videos. So what you see as you're doing your assignments will look very similar to what I'm doing. If you're using Google Sheets, it's very similar, but there are some differences. So just keep in mind, you might have to Google a little bit more about how to find something in Google Sheets. So the main idea of this is I want to offer an opportunity for you to use a resource that is not only very useful for statistics in our class, but it's very useful for a lot of careers, and honestly just for a lot of life stuff. Like I use it almost to keep track of my bills every month and things like that. So I just think Excel and Google Sheets is a really, really wonderful resource for you to use. And it calculates stuff in statistics so fast. So if you've seen the calculations or done the calculations for finding standard deviation of even a small data set, that takes a long time. And Excel can do it like that. So that's what we're finding in these videos. That's what we're practicing in these challenges. So for every challenge assignment, and there's 3 of them in Module 2, for every challenge assignment, what you will do is you'll work in the same spreadsheet throughout, but you'll submit it as you go. So you'll submit essentially 3 versions of your spreadsheet. The first version, so for challenge number 1, here's the Excel file you can download, and then here's a Google Sheets link. So I put the data set here, and I'm going to quickly jump down to the bottom of this page. I've also pasted the data set here, just in case it's easier for you to copy and paste that into Google Sheets document on your own or something like that. Okay, so coming back up. All right. So for challenge 1, the main things that we're learning in Excel is how to sort your data, how to format cells, so like how to put borders on there if you want to change the color of a cell, things like that. How to count your data, so how to see how many data values there are. This is a little bit simpler if a data set is small, but if you have a very large data set, this is a really useful thing to know. And then for this challenge, number 1, you're going to also practice creating a relative frequency table for a data set, and the data set that you're given. So I'll scroll back down again here. So the data set, this is the number of words spoken in a day by a random sample of people. So again, part of what you'll do in challenge number 1, as you'll see in these videos that I've made, and I'm back in my hot dog suit. I figured we're analyzing our candy corn guesses. So I think anytime we're doing stuff with candy corn guesses, it's got to be my hot dog costume time. So, okay. But anyway, this is the number of words spoken in a day by a random sample of people. So for example, one person, it was counted that they spoke 16,109 words in a day. Okay, so that's kind of the background of the data set. And then read through here, there's a lot more details, like what your submission should include in Excel. So this really details exactly what you should be submitting. So for the sake of time, I'm not going to talk through that in this video. It's all written here. And then also you will, for each one of these, have to summarize, or not have to, it's like you're summarizing what you're looking at. It's really good to do that. So you're going to be summarizing this in a text box. So here I've also put instructions on how to insert a text box. In one of the videos I show you how to do that too, but it's not one of the first ones. So I just wanted to point that out. Okay. And then the only other main thing I want to point out is that you do need to use this naming convention to save your spreadsheet. So I'm not usually super picky about this, but I will be in these cases because I'm going to end up downloading all of your spreadsheets. And so they need to be organized in some way, and it downloads them. And okay, anyway, so thank you for doing that in advance. Okay, so here are the videos I've made. The introduction to using Excel. This one shows you how to sort data, for example, how to sorry, this one is formatting and sorting. This one is just like, what does Excel do? How do we use Excel in general? This one is about formatting and sorting, starting to use our first Excel function. And then here we're working on making a grouped relative frequency table. And then in challenge number 2, I won't click in there, but there are 3 other videos talking through 3 other concepts. So I do want to remind you, the playback speed for these, you can change to whatever you want. So if you want it to be slowed down so that you can take notes, or maybe even complete the assignment for your data set at the same time as you're watching these videos, you can totally do that. Feel free to stop, rewind, etc. But in general, you can slow it down or speed it up. Notice I typically have my videos on 1.5 speed, and a lot of them I will slow down if I start listening and I'm like, oh, I need to actually have more time to process what's happening. But I just want to point out you can slow down or speed up. Okay, here I will point out is a living Excel function list. So I'm going to click on this. I am keeping track of the Excel functions, and I will clarify, it's written in all of these instructions, but Google Sheets works very similarly to Excel. So there might be some small differences that you can either email me about or Google, but we'll figure that out together. Again, Microsoft Excel you have free access to as College of the Desert students, so I do strongly encourage you to use that. Okay. So here are Excel functions. So for example, in some of these videos, you will see me use the sum function. We're going to learn how to use the count function, average, median, etc. This standard deviation function, where is it? This one? That's what calculates the standard deviation of a data set so fast. It's amazing. Okay, so I'll pause here, but I wanted to point this out. And if there are any functions that we start using that I realize are not on this list, or that you notice are not on this list, please, please, please let me know. I can update this list very quickly and it will like auto-populate for you. So you'll see any changes that I add on my end to this list. Okay, I will pause here, but that's the end of, I'll say, the challenges. So my explanation for the challenges. If we come back over here, I want to briefly talk through the investigation portfolio. So this, I will note, this is counted as an assignment, not as your investigation portfolio. So a big part of your grade in this class is your investigation portfolio. But these assignments that we complete along the way are meant to be like rough drafts of things to go in your investigation portfolio. So what will happen is throughout the course, you'll make rough drafts of these things. I will leave feedback, students will leave feedback, anonymous feedback. We're going to do peer feedback for this. And then you'll use that feedback to make a final draft, and that will be part of your investigation portfolio that you're submitting at the end of the semester. So in saying that, there's very detailed instructions here. So I don't want to read through all of them, but I did just want to verbally explain that this is essentially a project you're working on rough drafts of throughout the entire semester. And then you will have a chance to take my feedback, take your peers' anonymous feedback, and kind of adjust how you see fit for this. Okay. I guess one more thing I will say about this is that, as a heads up, you will be collecting at least 30 observations or 30 data values. So depending on how you design your research question, that could be, you could get 30 data values very quickly. It might take you a minute to get 30 data values, again, depending on what you're trying to measure. So just keep that in mind. Don't try to make a question where it's impossible to get 30 observations. Like you can't measure something weekly because we don't have 30 weeks to do that. So you will be collecting data for this. So again, keep that in mind. Okay, feel free to read through that. I can always make another video to give more detail in this. Okay. Thank you so much. Please let me know if you have any questions. And again, I'm just happy to answer anything. I know the asynchronous environment is tough to feel like I'm there, but I'm here. I'm here a lot. So please let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. All right. Thank you. Bye.